I want to welcome you to your first unit in pre-calculus. What a great opportunity it is for us to experience a good course, um, saving money on gas going to the classroom. But really, this is a great opportunity for you to to get the content understood and be able to demonstrate understanding and move along in your program of study. All very, very important things. And I'm very much looking forward to helping the process by serving as your instructor in this class. Basically, um, after you are familiar with the platform, you've got your introductory material in there, and you've gone through those silly tasks you have to do the first week, you're ready to get started in the content. And so, with calculator in hand, computer in the other, um, I hope that you enjoy this little introduction to Unit 1 on equations. Okay, student, this is a kind of a quick review of our introduction to the concepts. Let's just say we have a coordinate plane, okay, and now we have a couple point markers, tick marks, right? Okay. All right, so what we're doing is we're dealing with a couple points. Let's just say we have a point here, and let's say we have a point here, okay? Now, can we draw a line between those 2 points? Sure, we can draw a line between 2 points, okay? Could I find the distance of that line? Yes, I could find the distance. I could, basically count right here. Can I find the midpoint of those of the line segment? Yes, I could find the midpoint as well. All right, so those are some basic concepts. Another thing would be, what if we say that this point right here is a very special point? Let's just say it's the center of a circle with a radius of 2. Center of a circle with a radius 2. So that means that each of these dots is going to represent a point on the circle. Okay, I wonder if there's an equation related to that. So anyway, here's my circle, kind of a little sloppy here. Okay, and remember this would be the radius of the circle, correct? All right, so there's several ideas there that we could be talking about in this lesson. Now, let's do this. Let's talk about lines for a moment. Here's a line that goes through the center and that point right there. Okay, that would be a horizontal line. All right, what's its slope? Well, its slope is 0 because slope is fun, it's rise over run. Okay, rise over run. How about this point and maybe this point? Okay, so let's see if I can get a line going that way. Oh yeah, okay, that's good. All right, and what about this point right here that's at the end of that particular radius? Okay, now my point is that this slope, it looks like about maybe 1/2, and this slope looks maybe like, I don't know, let's say 3/2. So we're talking about slope. That's important. If a line's going down this way, it has a negative slope, like downhill. And another thing that we could talk about is if two lines are parallel, then they have the same slope. But what if two lines are perpendicular? If two lines are perpendicular, remember they form right angles. And let's do this. If I could turn those, let's just say I have this line, which is 1/2. What would that slope be? Okay, so again, that would be 1/2, and then this one would be -2. So that's just a little unpacked, a little picture to help you understand the things in Unit 1. And I really do hope that helps you. Okay, folks, let's notice some things. First of all, when you unpack Unit 1 over here on the left side with your table of contents, you'll see this advanced organizer. And basically, it's a PowerPoint slide that's describing what you're going to study. So these items are very, very important. Let me go back to Unit 1 tasks. So for Lesson 1, you have an introduction talking about distance and midpoint. There's some formulas there, graphs, circles. Of course, then you have your readings in the textbook, which, I sent that textbook earlier and it's available on your course resources, so that's a good thing. You have your quiz, and that would be the gist of Lesson 1. Then Lesson 2, again, an introduction, more about slope, horizontal and perpendicular lines. We just talked about that briefly. And then some suggested readings in the textbook. And again, your textbook's a good resource, so don't forget that as well. You have another quiz there. Then down at the bottom, you have your Unit 1 discussion and your Unit 1 checklist. All of these items are very good, good things for you to know. Okay, I want to point something out to you. Let's just say you're over here on the introduction and you want to go to the next, you're here, graphs of equations. You could click on this right arrow and it will bring that next group of task items. You could click on that first task item and then click here to get to the next task item. That is a quick way to navigate if you want to use it. I hope that helps. Okay, I'm going to call this part reminders. The first thing I want to talk about on reminders is the calendar. So if you notice you've got your first week and second week, and remember you're trying to look at the top items on each day as a guide for you to go on. And remember, the calendar is the slowest pace of the course. So you don't want to get behind, and that's to help you not get behind. Let's look at another thing. If we go back to that content, and we notice at the bottom of Unit 1, we see a discussion, Unit 1 discussion. Okay, so we see here in Unit 1 discussion, I have some videos here. These are optional videos. Some of them are very good, and some of them you may not need. And then you have your directions for Unit 1, and then, so it's very straightforward. Make your post and do this after you finish the test for Lesson 1. Each of these is 2 points. So 5 times 2 is 10. All of your discussions have points, and this is to encourage you to do them. Plus, it gives you an easy way to earn some points. Another thing I want to remind you of is my Monday office hours. So this is a place that you could go to see me work a problem. Go to the home page and click on my little purple button, and you could get into my office. So that's a very, very helpful tool that I want to remind you about. Another thing I want to remind you about is there is help and support. I call it your 3 major lifelines. Number 1, you got your math tutor on the home screen. That gets you into our tutor. I believe her name is Kesia. So that's great. Number 2, you have Smart Thinking, and that's on the upper right-hand corner. And a lot of people like that. And then last, I just mentioned here my online office. That's also on the home page. So those are 3 lifelines. And of course, there's others over here as well. But that's important to keep those in mind. Another reminder are your discussions. Here's where you do your lesson discussions or unit discussions. Here's a little bit about me when you want to know. And then here is the list of introductions by your fellow students. Here's what I call a little meeting place. And down at the bottom are your weekly check-ins. Let me see if I could. So your weekly check-ins. So I'm going to scroll that up. Now remember, you do the lesson discussions after you finish a unit. Then you do the weekly check-ins. And I got a reminder here between Friday and Sunday. But anyway, this is a way for you to keep up with what's happening with your fellow students in the class, and I hope that you get something out of that. If I click over here for grades, I see a list of all of my grades, and I think I can find my actual grade at the bottom of the class. Well, folks, that wraps it up on our Unit 1 introduction. I hope that you get a lot out of our study and that you use the resources to the best of your ability and enjoy a good experience. Best wishes.